Hey YouTube, it's time for another one of my sitting in the garage cell phone reviews. This time it's going to be of the Oneplus 6. As you can see, I got the 128 gig silk white version. Hooray, the thing is awesome. What I don't have is a car in the garage this time for some of you that have watched the other videos. Anyway, on to the review. Nobody's going to watch this anyway. I've had the OnePlus 6 now about 2.5 weeks, and I love this phone. I think it's awesome. I really liked the OnePlus 5T, and they took almost all of the great parts about the 5T and put it into the OnePlus 6 and made it better because they made the camera better. I don't know how, but they made it a little speedier. They kept some great features. They improved some other features. And I'll just get started here with the pros. It is the most inexpensive of the three flagships that I've been using over the last couple of months. It's the most inexpensive by $300. Comparing this to the S9 Plus 64 gig version and the Pixel 2 XL 64 gig version. This 128 gig version was $579. Brand new, no tax, no shipping fees, no nothing. That is $300 less than the almost $300 less than the Pixel 2 XL. And it's the same size phone. A lot of the specs are similar. I'll get more into that in a second. That is definitely a pro of this phone. They've improved what was an okay camera. They've improved it to be a great camera on here. It's dual on the back, is a 16 and 20 meg sensor back here. And it, regardless of the megs, like the Pixel 2 XL has the 12 meg sensor and takes awesome photos. The megs don't really matter. What matters is how the images are processed, and along with the sensor quality. And they've done a great job on this phone. It just takes wicked good pictures for a $579 phone. I think it has a beautiful design. I went with the silk white version. I'll take this case off here so you can see. I went with this silk white version. I couldn't wait just because I wanted something a little different. And I'm telling you, like, it's glass on the back, right? You know, we all get it. That was a design change from the 5T, which was aluminum, I think. But it doesn't feel like glass. It's actually very silky. I don't know how they did it, but it's really super nice. It's not as slick as some phones I've had that were glass. I don't know why. I don't know. They did a great job on it. It still has the headphone jack. Hooray. I don't know why the Pixel 2 XL doesn't have it, and dongle life is not for me. That is the worst solution ever. Just try to use a dongle with headphones and keep the phone in your pocket while you're at the gym. It's a train wreck. It's dumb. This is a pro for me, but it could be a con for you. It only has one speaker. They're on the left-hand side. It's downward facing. So the S9 Plus and the Pixel 2 XL both have stereo speakers, but I'm here to tell you that this single speaker is as loud, if not louder, than the S9 Plus dual speakers, and it's definitely louder than the Pixel 2 XL. Louder does not mean it sounds all that great, but it does mean that it's loud. So that when I'm playing a podcast or whatever in my car, my old Camaro that does not have an aux input or Bluetooth or any of that stuff, if I have the window down, I can still hear it. And to me, that's very important on the drive that I make to work and back. I need to have that, and I think that's great that they made it that loud. I'll put this in the pro category. It has the alert slider over here to go from ring mode to vibrate, and I think the other mode is silent. Yeah, it's silent. I don't really use this very much. I think it's maybe the only Android phone that has that, and if you use it, that's cool. It's on there. I just don't mess with it. I don't think there's a need for it. When you hit the volume down button, if you just kept hitting volume down, see, OnePlus stops you from going all the way down to like silent and vibrate when you press the volume down button. And if it would let you, there's no need for that alert slider over there. I think that's like an iPhone, hey, we'll convert people from iPhone if we have this thing, because some people really value that. I'm not one of those people. So for me, it's a lot better if I can just hit the down button and go all the way down to silent and vibrate. And I think some of the earlier OnePlus versions of phones had that option. But I know the 5T didn't do that, and this phone doesn't do that. And I don't know. To me, it's a little annoying. The screen on here is great. It's awesome. There's another video I did. I'll try to link it up here, one of the suggested videos, where I compare the display quality, the brightness, all that stuff between the OnePlus 6, the Pixel 2 XL, and the S9 Plus. I got a video going of the Pacific Ocean, and you can really see the difference in the color between the three phones. And the OnePlus 6 is just a shade under the brightness and richness of color than the S9 Plus, just a shade under it. And they're both way better than the Pixel 2 XL if brightness and rich colors are your thing. Some people don't like that. It looks a little washed out maybe, and I can, I'm not going to argue against that. But they did a great job with the screen. Another thing with the screen is it has a pre-installed screen protector. There you can see the ridge running around. Every phone company should do that. I think it's great because right out of the box, I have a minimum of protection for my $600 phone, $579, or if you get the 64 gig version, $529. Why a phone that costs in the middle fives is coming out with that, and your $800+ phones don't have that, to me is a crime. Also, OnePlus includes in the box a case, a little, just a generic silicone clear case. And this is all that I ever wanted on my phones. Something clear, let me see the design, the workmanship of the phone, of the craftsmanship on the back, and then protect it at the same time. And it has, you can see there, the corners are a little bulbous, so that when you place the phone face down on something, it keeps the screen elevated off of whatever you've placed it on and gives it just that little bit more protection. Very thoughtful, very great idea to put that in the box. Now, some of you, I'm sure right away, have noticed there's a notch up there. I'm going to say that's a pro. I'm an Android fan. I'm not an Apple fan. I know that Apple didn't start it. The Essential phone started the notch. Apple took it mainstream, and now everybody's copying it. OnePlus 6 copied it. The notches are stupid. Whatever your opinion is, that's your opinion. I like it. I think it's a cool way to give me a little more real estate. It does kind of suck when some of the notifications up here, when they get crowded, it turns into dots just telling you that you need to pull down and see what other notifications are up here. It happens, but I'm okay with it. It's a non-player to me. I like it. The OnePlus 6, OnePlus is known for their extremely fast dash charging. You cannot beat the dash charging that this phone offers. It's so fast. It's wicked fast. Much faster than the S9 Plus, which is just, to me, is like regular charging. I'm waiting hours to get a full charge. And it's faster than Google's implementation of fast charging. You have the face unlock, which the last time I tried to do this is so fast you can't even really see it. Okay, I guess you can see it there. I press the power button. It sees my face, and it's so fast, boom, it's unlocked. That's great if you don't want to have to turn your phone over to get to the fingerprint sensor. It's cool. The battery life on this phone, this is a huge pro. So the S9 Plus, the battery life is abysmal. It's horrible. I can barely get through a day with it on a single charge. I'm usually down in single digits, low teens, single digits on a charge on my S9 Plus, and it drove me insane. The Pixel 2 XL had great battery life. I had no issues with it. The OnePlus 6, it's outstanding battery life. It has an outstanding screen. I use my phone quite a bit during a day with the screen on. And in fact, let's just look and see. It's been off the charger for a while. Let's see what the battery percentage is. I'm at 19%, okay? But let's just see what the screen on time is. Okay. Since full charge, while in active use, I've got 4.5 hours of screen on this phone. And a lot of it has been at at better than half brightness because I've been watching shows and when I have podcasts on in the car and stuff like that, the screen always the screen is always on. That's a lot of screen on time. If I'd had 4.5 hours on my S9 Plus, this phone right now would not have 19%. It would probably be almost dead, if not dead. And it certainly wouldn't be at 20%. Like I would be jonesing to find the charger or my battery pack. For the S9 Plus, I never have worried about having a battery pack on me or where's my charger until I got the S9 Plus. And that thing, it just made you like OCD about knowing where that stuff was. With the OnePlus 6, I've not worried about it yet. And I never would have watched as many shows, like have them running in the background while I'm at work just to have some white noise distraction. I do that all the time with this OnePlus 6. I don't worry about it. With the S9 Plus, I never did it. The phone wouldn't make it. This doesn't have that always-on display that some of the other phones have right now, like the S9 Plus and the Pixel 2, which I really like that feature. But what it does have is the double tap to wake it feature. And then from there, if it sees your face, it'll unlock. And that's super convenient. What I don't care so much for is that this is kind of unreliable. Sometimes I'll double tap it and it just stays black. Of course, it's not going to do it now. But it's not as reliable as I'd like it to be. It does have it knows if you've lifted it up, and it comes on with the clock, and if there's any notifications, they'll be right here in the middle. So it does do that as well. When you put it down, the display goes off. Probably not a bad idea. It saves battery and all that stuff. So it gives you some options there about getting your notifications. I think they're both winners. The other thing that it does, that the S9 does not do, that the Pixel 2 XL does, is when you swipe up on any of these phones, you get your app drawer. When you swipe down, you should, in my opinion, get the notification shade. Okay, you swipe down again, you got a little more options, more things to look at. On the S9 Plus, inexplicably, you swipe up, you get the app drawer, and when you swipe down, you get the app drawer again. I don't get that, Samsung. It makes no sense. What Samsung does do correctly is that if you pull down on the fingerprint sensor on the S9 Plus, then that will bring down your notification shade. Okay, I'm all right with that. The OnePlus 5T did that same thing, but the OnePlus 6 does not offer that, and it makes me very sad because I use that all the time. I guess the difference is that when you have an app open like this, got the internet open, it's so nice to be able to pull down on that fingerprint sensor and get my notification shade. I guess OnePlus's answer to this is they have a setting. It's not on by default, but you can turn it on where you double tap the home button, and then it will bring that down. Then you can go ahead and pull it down or get rid of it like that. So for me, once I figured that out, I'm like, okay, there's a different way to do things here. I retrained how to do it, and I'm okay with that. So is that a concession I'm making? I don't know. I do miss having this feature, and I just have a feeling they're going to bring it back. They have to. If Samsung made that work with this dumb design of a fingerprint sensor here, which in my opinion should be a circle, not this oblong shape. If Samsung made it work, OnePlus can make it work. So hopefully they do. The other, just another OnePlus thing is that they have their student discount program. If you have a student email address, you get 5% off right off the bat when you buy a new OnePlus device. 10% off for accessories. But what a nod to students. It's a great deal. And then they have their 15-day, they say hassle-free returns. I'm not so sure about the hassle-free, but they do 15-day returns, I think, from the day it's delivered. So you have a couple of weeks to play around with it, make sure that it's something you want to deal with. For me, yes, absolutely, I'm keeping it. I'm not getting rid of this at all. I'm selling the S9 Plus and the Pixel 2 XL. They're on Swappa. If you'd like to buy them from me, that would be cool. So some of the cons here, I'll list them out. For some of you, it's going to be the notch. It's got the notch and it's got the chin. Oh Lord, you can turn the notch off. Okay, you can turn it off. OnePlus lets you do that. I'm not going to do that. There are no included headphones in the box. I always say that's a con about buying a OnePlus deal because I use wired headphones. I still do. They're just better for me. Um, but they have so much other good stuff going for them. It's understandable. The OnePlus 6 does not offer you expandable storage, and that's just something that I think should be on here. There's no OTG connector in the box for the OnePlus 6. Again, understandable, but I've come to really like those things where they allow you to plug in a USB drive or anything that takes the bigger USB-A connector. Another con, and this was a con on the 5T as well, the OnePlus 6 has weak haptics. Like the vibration motor, to me, it feels precise. It's just weak. If the phone rings when it's in your pocket and you're in a noisy place, you'll never know it. It's just weak. There's no IP rating on the OnePlus 6. I hear that it's water resistant and it has good, build quality, and it might resist a lot of water, but it's not rated to. It has a 1-year warranty, which I wish it was 2. I think the Pixel XL has a 2-year warranty. I wish OnePlus would up it a little bit. There's no wireless charging on OnePlus phones yet. I never used it anyway on the S9 Plus. It's just not a big deal to me yet, but it's something you need to know about if you're buying this. And then this thing, and this was, if there's any concession I'm making to keeping this phone, if there's any, it is that it has an odd way, to me, for you to have to silence the alarms. And I will show it to you in action, and I'll explain it to you real quick. On any other Android phone I've ever used, including the 5T, I set an alarm, the alarm goes off. All I have to do to shut off the alarm is fumble for the phone and press any button, the volume button, the power button. It'll silence the alarm. It'll snooze it. On the OnePlus 6, those buttons don't do anything. You have to tap the button and then slide it to snooze or dismiss. And I'll show you real quick. Okay, here's my alarm going off. I'm going to press the volume button. Okay, I guess if you keep going down, it'll turn it down, but it doesn't turn it off, right? If I press the power button, unbelievably, that just turns the screen off. Okay, so that was my go-to on any of my previous Android phones, was just hitting the power button and it would silence the alarm. Now, in order to snooze it or to dismiss it, you gotta slide this thing, one way or the other here. And I'm like, so I actually have to find the phone, pick up the split display, put it in my face, and turn the thing off. And the reason why this is almost a deal breaker for me is because you see that sweetheart there on my lock screen. When we put her to bed, oftentimes we stay in her room or lay on the floor or next to her until she goes to sleep. I'm a midnight worker, so a lot of times I wind up dozing, on the floor in her room, and I always set the alarm before we go in there so that if I do, I'm not late for work. Well, the first time I had this phone and I set that alarm, I'm dozing away, and all of a sudden, boom, an alarm goes off, and I have it set fairly loud, and I grab the phone and I'm hitting all these buttons and I'm doing whatever, and I'm groggy. I was totally asleep, and now the phone's still going off and off and off, and it's loud and it's vibrating, and my daughter's starting to wake up, and I'm like, what on earth? What the heck is wrong? And by the time I picked up the phone, I'd hit the power button a couple times and the screen was off. So I'm like, I was so out of it. I was like, I can't figure this out. And I finally, fumbled around and turned the screen on, and then was able to slide that thing over. But by this time, she's fully awake. She's, whining and crying and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. So that's why for me, that was like almost a deal breaker for this. I figured out some ways around it. But, be aware of that if you have young ones and you have a routine similar to mine. Okay, so, there's usually 3 to 4 specs that people care about with phones. I'm not a big specs guy, but one is the camera, which I've already gone over. It is the 16 and 20 megapixel on the back. I don't care about the selfie camera at all. For the screen, the OnePlus 6 uses an optic AMOLED with a 22 by 80 2280 by 1080 resolution, which is definitely under what Samsung uses and the Pixel 2 XL. Okay, and for the processor, the OnePlus 6 has the Snapdragon 845 in it. And if you get the 64 gig version of this phone, it's going to come with 6 gigs of RAM. If you get the 128 or 256 gig version of the phone of storage, you're going to get 8 gigs of RAM. This sucker has 8 gigs of RAM in it. That is higher than the S9 Plus, and it is higher than the Pixel 2 XL. The battery is the smallest of those three at 3,300 milliamp hours, and it kicks Samsung's butt. Samsung, the S9 Plus, has 3,500 milliamp hours, and it waxes the floor with the Samsung with the battery life. And I can only assume that it is due to the pixel density that the S9 Plus has. Yes, it probably has the best looking display for the majority of people. But if that's sucking the battery life down that bad, I don't want it. I don't. I'd rather have a phone that will last me well through a day's use. I don't want to have to be worrying about scrambling to dig out the charger. So that, my friends, is another garage review of a cell phone. If you have any questions about the OnePlus 6, the Pixel 2 XL, the Samsung S9 Plus, I can let you know, because I don't get paid to buy any of these or paid for any of the reviews. I just do it for fun and to help people out. So I can only be honest with you. And that is all she wrote. Thank you for watching.